perhaps one of the first songs I ever learned. The Lord said to Noah, there's gonna be a floody, floody. Lord said to Noah, there's gonna be a floody, floody. Get your children out of the muddy, muddy, children of the Lord. What comes next? So rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord. Well, so by now I'm sure, if you didn't already know, this week's Torah portion is Noah, better known as the story of Noah. And although this portion ends with that brief story of the Tower of Babel, the bulk of the chapters narrate the story of Noah, his conversation with God, building the ark, bringing into the ark pairs of animals, 2 by 2, enduring the great rains and floods for 40 days and 40 nights, and then that moment when the first recorded rainbow appears in the sky. This rainbow was designated by God as the constant reminder, the sign that God has made with humanity never again to destroy the world by flood. This covenant, this brit, was the first of many listed in the Torah that God has made with us. This brit, as with all that God has made, constitutes a moral and ethical contract that we make with God. Both parties in this contract, God and humanity, are obligated to the terms of the agreement. Of course, the question that arises for me is, have we fulfilled our responsibilities under this covenant? Well, individually, I think many of us are struggling to do so. As individuals, Jews make up a greater percentage of active volunteers and contributors to charitable causes than any other segment of society. Individually, we are joining with others in the non-Jewish community to take steps to address our concerns for the environment. My wife and I, as many of you know, decided to drive both a hybrid and an electric vehicle. I know many of you in this chapel do the same as well as the hybrid. How many electric car drivers do we have here tonight? Okay, it's lonely at the top. All right. Individually, these are important steps in the right direction, but on a collective level, they are merely drops in a vast ocean. I'm reminded of a quote by the founder of the Reconstructionist movement within American Jewish community, Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan. Rabbi Kaplan writes, "Don't merely expect to find or to believe that life is worthwhile, make it worthwhile. Don't merely see life as whole, make it whole. Not knowing which should come first, to improve oneself or to improve the world, we end up doing neither. Actually, the only way to improve the world is by improving oneself, and the only way to improve oneself is by improving the world." Well, as a society and as a world collective, I have grave concerns. I could, as could each of you, itemize the wars and acts of terror now afflicting our world. I could list tragic and deplorable examples of child pain, starvation, and life suffering. I could list examples of violence against women, just to name a few. But using this week's Torah portion as a guide, we see that all of these examples of destruction and violence filled the world during Noah's time. But as Noah and his family emerged from the ark and stepped onto dry land and into a new world, the rainbow covenant became a sign of hope and promise. In addition to the struggles, the violence and destruction inherent in our actions then and today, this sign of the rainbow, the divine covenant, reminds us that we too are prohibited from destroying the world by any of the ways humanity can trigger natural disasters. Rapacious and inequitable use of the natural resources, failure to address the real and present dangers from our dependency on fossil fuels and coal, from our failures to avoid the potential for nuclear holocaust, whether by unsafe operation of nuclear generators to the very real and present dangers associated with nuclear weapons, and to all that is involved that we call global warming. Our rabbis were all too aware of the destructive nature of humanity. They recognized that humanity could, should they turn a blind eye to the ethical mitzvot God gifted to everyone, as stated so often in the Torah, through negligence, greed, and a hunger for power, we could, in fact, destroy the world. Taking the quote from the book of Genesis where the Torah states, the eternal God took Adam, and placed him in the Garden of Eden to keep it and watch over it. The rabbis relate the following story in Midrash Ecclesiastes Rabbah as a companion to this. When God created Adam, God led him around all the trees in the Garden of Eden. God said to him, "See how beautiful and praiseworthy all of my works are? Everything I have created has been created for your name's sake. Think of this and do not corrupt or destroy my world, for if you corrupt it, there will be no one to set it right after you." My hope, my prayer for this Shabbat of Noah, well, that the day comes soon, as the prophet Zechariah states, in words which we will chant very shortly. V'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. It is said, the Lord will reign forever and ever. On that day the Eternal shall be one, and the Eternal's name shall be one. Quoting from the wisdom of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel again, Rabbi Heschel writes, according to the Kabbalah, the Jewish mystic tradition, redemption is not an event that will take place all at once at the end of days, or something that concerns the Jewish people alone. It is the continual process taking place at every moment. Man's good deeds, even say humanity's good deeds, are single acts in the long drama of redemption, and not only the people of Israel, but the whole universe must be redeemed. May we then be able to join together to celebrate the world that we have, that together that God has made, and that we are co-creators, that everyone lives a life of dignity, and that we provide for the needs of those less fortunate. May we very well join in singing that famous song from the African American spiritual once again. Rise and shine, give God the glory, glory, rise and shine, and give God the glory, glory, rise and shine, and give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord. That was pretty good. Let's try that again, shall we? Rise.